say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous line o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the
Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to today's show. Happy Lord's Day, you guys. Happy Sunday. I am so excited to be here with you guys. It's been a minute. Okay, listen. Your girl's life has been lifing. I have so many things I want to share with you guys. So many wonderful and amazing things that have been happening. And this is like the first day I really haven't had a chance to breathe and take it all in. But I said, you know what? I'm going to go live. I'm going to fight through the fatigue and bring you guys, oh, what's that hair? Bring you guys up to speed on what's been going on. Welcome to the best live chat this side of YouTube, over here in the YouTube suburbs, where we love God, we love our families, and we assert our freedom. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. Or if you're watching us on X, welcome. I believe I have some new followers since the latest thing or development that's been happening in terms of media appearances. And we're going to talk all about that today. But I still don't know what's going on with Facebook. I need to take some time to figure out what's going on with my integrations. But tonight, we've got so much to cover. We've got to talk about what's been going on in Iran. I'm also going to cover tonight what happened at the NAACP Awards. Now, it's not that any of us knew that the NAACP Awards was even happening, but I did see on Twitter a very disrespectful, I'll put clarion call, I call it social lynching, is what we watched happen over at the awards by a not so funny comedian who thought he was funny, but he really wasn't. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But before we do, you guys, we gotta talk. We gotta talk about what's been happening. Why is my nose itching so much? Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. I'm not digging in my nose. It's not what this is, but I think I have some sort of hair, um, or something that is trying to distract me. Uh, and it's quite annoying. So let's get that right. But shout out to all of the moderators who are joining us tonight. Thank you so much for all of the work that you guys do, just trying to keep the live chat on task. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about, y'all already know, I think it was last, y'all, when I say the days are running in together. Okay, so was it last week or the week before last? I was invited to the White House, and that was friggin' incredible. Okay, like I still haven't had a moment to kind of take all of that in. Also on the same day, I went to the RNC. Oh, wow. The RNC hosted a Trailblazer reception, and I went to that at the Capitol Club. That was cool. Then the next day after that, the Black Conservative Federation, BCF, had their annual gala, and that was nice as well. DC was cold. It was at the Trump Kennedy Center, and BCF really knows how to do it up. They did an amazing job putting on a stellar event. I did not go to the after party because I'm old and tired, and by the time 9 o'clock rolled around, I was yawning. So I went back to my hotel room, and then I had gotten a call. I have so many people I want to thank. I got a call from my dear friends over at TPUSA Rise who said that it was possible that I would be doing a Black History panel with Harris Faulkner on Fox News. And to be honest, you guys, I didn't get overly excited because it wasn't set in stone, but they were like, hey, they'll reach out and, just kind of keep us posted. So I got home Saturday, and Tuesday I got the email from Harris Faulkner's booking producer. And y'all, I about died. Okay, I ain't even gonna sit here and lie to you. Okay, there was no composure. I about died. Heart was coming out my chest. Anxiety was on 10. I'm hyperventilating. I'm crying, bawling like an infant. Okay, Rob was trying to calm me down. I'm just freaking out. And so originally I was told that I was going to be platformed with Brandon Tatum and CJ Pearson. And everything moves very, very fast in this world. Okay, so I got the email on Tuesday. Tuesday, they booked the plane ticket, the hotel. They're like, listen, we need you here on Thursday. Your hit time's on Friday morning. We'll send you back home on Friday. I'm like, cool. I'm the consummate professional, so I'm just trying to be real agile and adjustable and all the things. But I wasn't excited about going to New York, y'all. Y'all know I'm from New York. Like when I say I'm not from Albany, no shade to folks from Albany. I'm not from Rochester, no shade if you are from Rochester. I'm not even from Yonkers, y'all from the Bronx, okay? I'm talking like Hunts Point, 6 train, number 5 bus, Bruckner Boulevard, Story Avenue, Bronx. But I have not lived in New York since 1997. Like as soon as I could get the first train out of Dodge smoking, I was like, peace, I am out. I really, how some people feel like they never belong. I was born and raised there my whole life, and I always felt like I was like, I ain't supposed to be here. I don't fit here. Like, I just can't, I could never adjust to the snow, the cold, the grit, the grime, the crime. I was just like, I'm not supposed to be here. So when I turned 18 and graduated high school, I left, went to college, came to Atlanta, and never went back. So when I find out that I have to go to New York to Fox News, immediately I start freaking out. I was like, wait a minute, I got my homeboy. Shout out to you, Jay. I got a chance to hang out with with Jay while I was there. He was like, "Oh, so you're flying in?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, no worries. We'll go out to dinner. Let me know when you get there." And I'm freaking out because I'm like, y'all, it's been a minute since I've been to New York City. And they just got 17 inches of snow. Like on Tuesday, the day I got the call, it snowed 17 inches. I was like, I'm going to die. I was like, I ain't going to make it. I am not going to make it. And I was freaking out because I was like, gosh, like my husband's like, the way our life is set up, he just literally cannot travel with me, especially when it's last minute like that. So I'm like, Lord, I got to go by myself. I was like, if I'm going to die, I'm just going to die, right? So shout out to my girl, Crystal Jenkins, red pill brown girl. I tell her, and she's like, oh, I'm coming. I was like, no, you're not. She was like, yes, I am. She said, girl, I will leave here at 3 a.m. and drive to New York City. You're not going to have to do this by yourself. I was like, okay. So I fly out, and believe it or not, y'all, it wasn't that cold. New York was not that cold. It wasn't like bitter cold. Like, it wasn't bitter cold. It was like a tolerable cold. But y'all, I showed up to my own hometown feeling like a daggone tourist. Y'all, I'm in the car like, ooh, this is nice. Y'all act like I ain't never been to the Statue of Liberty before. Like I had never been on 42nd Street. It's been that long. And I had just finished telling my homeboy, I was like, sir, he was like, when are you coming home to visit? I was like, oh, the 8th of February. And I said it just like that. I was like, I ain't coming up there. I hate that place. So to get this call, he was like, you just said you wasn't coming. I said, well, now I'm coming. So anyway, get off the plane. They take me to the hotel, and y'all, the Hard Rock, I ain't gonna lie, that's a swanky hotel. I was like, okay, now I know I'm in New York and I might get robbed, but I feel relatively safe here. 46th Street, still beautiful, super nice. But here's the part that was so funny. Y'all, I'm so country and southernized that it was 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, why are people out? Like, people were just out in the street. I was like, don't y'all gotta go to work in the morning? Y'all have nowhere to go. And Jay is telling me, he was like, yeah, I'm leaving Connecticut now. I'll be there in an hour. I was like, yo, it is late. Like, it's too late. Like, we don't need to be out like this. It's cold. I'm making every excuse in the world. But it was so good to catch up with my childhood people. And we laughed and reminisced on how we feel like 1994 was like yesterday, but it's not. All of our friends, or some are married, some are divorced, some got grandkids, and I was like, we cannot be at grandbaby status. That is just not real. So anyway, I wake up the next morning. Shout out to Fox News. They are amazing hosts. Everything went smooth. Everything that they said they were going to do and show up on time, everything just went perfectly flawless. And I get to the studio, and I'm asking God, I'm like, God, how did I get here? How did I get here? I'm like, I was minding my business on Al Gore's internet, running my mouth, praying that I didn't get deplatformed. But I'm incredibly thankful for the opportunities and the doors that the Lord is opening for me, the coalitions, the relationships, the collaborations that are just naturally forming. I'm thankful and grateful for my husband who has orchestrated every single connection. Trust that one, walk away from that one, do this, no, don't do that. I'm so thankful for all of it. And so what I want to do really quickly, so let me go back. Y'all, my little 6 minutes of fame went by so fast, it felt like 30 seconds. It really did, because in my mind, I had prepared for it to go one way, but it moves so fast. Before you blink, they're like, okay, coming up next on the next segment. And you're like, oh, it's over? And I'm like, dang, it was getting good. Like we was just getting warmed up. One thing I learned, you kind of have to come warmed up. Like you don't get to crank it up and like rev up. You got to come out the gate swinging. And so if I could do it all over again, that's the one thing I would have done is I need to be more sharp and concise and just hit the target and I hate to use this verbiage, but you got to shoot to kill. You just got to come out swinging. And so I'm going to do a better job and strengthen my ability to do that. But you guys, I love that I got to sit on the Faulkner Focus with Harris Faulkner and just speak the truth on national TV. Harris Faulkner is as beautiful as she is on camera. She like 20 times more pretty in person. Just the epitome of poise and grace and style and the shoes. I know y'all are like, she's so distracted. My ADHD couldn't help but the shoes was on point, Harris. Yes, I'm a shoe girl. And so the first thing I noticed about really poised and classy and well put together women is I'm looking at the shoes. And the shoes were cute. I'm not sure. They looked like they may have been Valentino, but I'm not sure. But they were gorgeous. But anyway, let me focus on what's important. So, like I was saying, when you're on Fox, that Fox segment is like, it's so short. It's like trying to explain the book of Romans, like, and fit it all on in a fortune cookie. That's the best way I can describe trying to cram in everything that you want to say and answer a question. Book of Romans on a fortune cookie. And the segment went so fast that before I knew it, y'all, it was over and my heart was still racing as if I was getting ready to do it. And everyone's just like, oh, my phone's blowing up. Everybody's texting me and I'm crying. I'm just like, this is too much. It's too much. It was that overwhelming. So I say all that to say, be careful what you ask for. Because when the opportunity opens up, you're like, okay, did I do everything I was supposed to do? Did I say what I was supposed to say? And then like, oh snap, I forgot to do this and I forgot to say that. And you're freaking out and everybody's like, no, it's good. And then, I know y'all don't think this is important, but this part is important. Now y'all know I love being glammed up. But I have a really love-hate relationship with lashes. I just do. I've tried. I'm not saying, listen, if you are a lash girl, praise Jesus. That's you. But my husband ain't never looked at me and was like, you know what? If your lashes was just a little bit longer, like you be cooking, you really be cooking. So the makeup artist is like, oh, we need your eyes to pop. I was like, listen, I don't want to be looking like Jasmine Crockett. She was like, oh no, you won't, honey. They put them things on my eyes. I was like, I don't know how these girls do it. That's the last time I allow myself to be talked into doing something I don't want to do. I didn't want to wear them lashes. Now, they were not heavy and they did not obstruct my view, but it was team too much. And I was like, I don't even look like myself. I wanted to look like me. So I'm not making excuses, but I really do feel like my response would have been a little bit more, I would have felt a little bit more comfortable if I felt like I was in my own skin. So we're not doing that no more. No more lashes by the makeup artist on the set. If we gonna do a lash, it need to be so short that you be like, it looks like you ain't even wearing none. That's the point. So that's me. No judgment, no shade. I'm just telling y'all how I feel. That is the only thing that bothered me. So, getting back to it. Before I knew it, the segment was over. So what I want to do tonight, before we get into talking about Orange Man bad, the Iranian leader is dead, I want to finish what I started on Harris's show. And I just briefly want to talk about what I thought we were going to spend some time talking about on this segment. And it's the idea that I believe that Black America Blacks in America, we are so done being treated like we live on some political plantation. Y'all, them days are over, okay? And some folks are actually mad. They are mad that the folks who used to be the help is starting to wake up. That's the only way to keep people from believing that you are the help. You have got to assert yourself and you have to teach them that you are free. That's the main message I wanted to drive home. The people are mad that there are individuals, Black Americans, who are saying, I'm done being your political pawn. I'm done being your electoral serf. So the only way to get them to believe it, you've got to assert yourself. And you got to teach them that you are free. But you can't do that if you're going to continue to wallow in the pity of the past. This, first of all, it's a past that it's a path and a past that you've never even experienced. And yet, you're walking around with this woe is me. Remember what they had did to us. And you remember how we were shackled and how they used to beat us. And I'm like, you ain't never been, half of y'all ain't never even got a spanking as a child, let alone, especially them Gen Zers and Alphas, y'all ain't been spanked. Yeah, I could tell you ain't been spanked. You've been raised wrong. So I don't even understand how your generation has any remote connection to we were slaves and the subjugation and the oppression. Cut it out. You're unserious. But the point is, no other people group in the world, not just in this country, in the world, walks around celebrating their oppression and dwelling on the oppression. And my message is simple. It makes you look weak. It makes you look weak, and you will never, ever, ever exercise the muscles of liberty if you continue to dwell on the time when you was in Egypt, when you're supposed to be dwelling on how you were brought out of Egypt. Like we're not in Egypt anymore. And so I said what I said. We are not victims by default. We are Americans. And you don't have to like this, but people are not oppressed and subjugated because they're Black or because they're Asian or because they're Hispanic. You're oppressed because you're weak. And you can continue to wallow in that weakness and give your oppressor some sort of alleged power by constantly acknowledging it, or you can assert yourself and teach your former masters that you were free. And if you can't handle any of that and the responsibility that comes along with that, then fine, go on over there and hug a DEI manual and cry and beg and whine and cry way over there. Because the rest of us, we are so looking ahead. We are looking ahead and we are excited about what the future holds because the future is where it's at. You can't even go back and re-adjudicate what happened in the past. I'm not saying act like it didn't happen. I'm saying stop wearing your oppression like it's a badge of honor because you're out here, you sound crazy. No, you're not the only people group that's been subjugated, but you are definitely the only ones that wear it like it's a badge of honor. The Jews were subjugated, and they don't talk about what it was like in Egypt and how Pharaoh was just whipping on their backs and they had to make bricks without straw. They talk about, look what the Lord did. He brought us out of Egypt. He saved us and freed us. That's what you celebrate, not what happened in Egypt. Because it was bad. And like an abused woman, if you're going to sit and replay over and over and again what he had did to you, you will never be free. You will never be healed. You will stay stuck in the same position. And you'll be confused trying to figure out why you can't move forward. It's because you keep wallowing in the past. That's a message for somebody in case you missed it. This is why you're no further along than you were 4 years ago. Because you keep wallowing in what they had did to you, holding on to a spirit of bitterness and unforgiveness, yet you claim to be a Christian. Nobody believes you. Your whole life is manifest grievance, demanding that pay attention to me because look at what they have did to me. While the world is passing you by, everybody's passing you by. Get the message. Now, here's what we're going to do. I want to react. I'm going to play briefly some of the clip from the Faulkner Focus. And then I will finalize kind of like everything that I want to say. If I could just get the full screen up. All right, here we go. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know why the heat is on. It is 73 degrees in here. I'm burning up, about to die. It's not a hot flash. It's not, because I got that under control. But it is hot in here. All right, let's take a listen. Well, wrong. This ain't right. There we go. Shout out to Harris Faulkner for having the vision to want to, even if it was just for a small bit of time, to highlight the rise of Black conservatives. And she wanted to do it within Black History Month. So take a listen.
Of Black Americans who continue to do great things. The latest census data show about 195,000 Black-owned businesses in the United States, employing some 1.6 million workers. So that's the economy. And in the nation's military, about 18% of active duty service members are Black Americans across all branches. And in political leadership in America, a growing embrace of the Republican Party and more generally of American conservatism. In the current Congress, there are 5 Black Republicans. That matches the record set in 2022 through 24 for the highest number of Black GOP members since the Reconstruction era more than 150 years ago. Now, when it comes to casting a ballot, so here we are with all the voters. What does that look like? President Trump's share of the Black vote grew significantly from 2016. And you can see much of that was driven by Black men.
Listen, we need to pause right there. Y'all, look at these gains from 2016 to 2024. Look at this total down here. Men, 14%. I don't know what happened in 2020, but then look at this 25%. I have long been saying that the restoration of some sort of civility, normalcy, and logic and reason being restored back to the Black community, it's gonna have to come from our men. I hate to say this is bad, but sadly, too many of us females, we're too far gone. We are. We don't even realize, some of us do, but we don't even realize the psyop that has been played on us to where we are so far ideologically disconnected from our male counterparts that it is almost impossible for the Black man to find a suitable helpmate that looks like him for him to pair bond with, because we are a ratchet-tang, crazed feminist who can't manage our misery. We submit to no one, and we are just the most rebellious people group. The most rebellious. And so, to me, when I examine these numbers, it makes sense that the lead charge is taking place by men. And I just wanted to celebrate this. This is a highlight that should be celebrated. And I believe it has a lot to do with the masculine mystique that is currently operating in the warehouse, the White House, not the warehouse. I don't know what the warehouse is, but the White House, I know what that is. I can explain this. Now I get it. I had a brain freeze. We can explain this dip because 2020, well, this is actually Trump support. I don't know if this is when he ran against Biden. I have a hard time believing this, but if this is what they're saying, what the numbers are, it is what it is. I know right around here, a lot of women were red-pilled during this time. So the men were already on a trajectory, but here a lot of the women were red-pilled. And then in this last election, I was told, I thought this number was upwards of 20%, but they're saying 16%, but black men 25%. I'm gonna tell you what it is. I just called it like it is. At this point, if you are black and you are male and you are still ideologically on the left, I am compelled by no other reason but observable reality than to assume that you are homosexual. I didn't stutter. I said what I said. Because if you're okay with having your child being able to be transitioned without your permission, or someone else's child being transitioned without your permission, and you're voting for all these freak nasty perverted policies, it seems like the Democratic left is obsessed with sexual perversion. What? I don't know a man who is a heterosexual that doesn't have a visceral reaction to like, what? How did this get into the politics? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I'm telling you, it's effeminate, just debauchery, whoredom, all the things that are anti-human flourishing is what they are celebrating. And men with common sense are like, that is not me. Sorry, that is not me at all. I didn't mean to interrupt. Let me let this continue to finish.
Your screen. Some voters began to see the Democrat Party taking their support for granted. A lengthy New York Times piece written after the last election lays out how the Harris-Walz campaign didn't even bother to court the black vote until it was too late. Here's a quote. The chairman of a county Democrat party in rural Georgia with many black voters said this: the Harris campaign's get out the vote operation had been non-existent, even as he had pleaded for resources. He told the Times, quote, they did nothing, absolutely nothing. They thought those black voters are going to come home. They will vote for Kamala Harris regardless because she is a black woman. President Trump took no vote for granted. A bit of his second inaugural address here.
As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural. To the black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come.
In focus now, millions of people hear them each week. Conservative podcast host Devory Darkins, April Chapman, podcast host and Turning Point USA Rise leader, and podcast host CJ Pearson. And you've taken a part in some of our roundtables and more. Great to see you all. April, I want to start with something that you have said about Black History Month in particular, and why you think that it's incredibly important now for us to recognize it, but to also know the truth.
Y'all see Harris's shoes? Y'all, those shoes is bad. I'm sorry, I'm so not focused. They look even better in person. The camera didn't do these shoes justice. I'm sorry, they just didn't. But anyway, okay, let's focus on what matters. You know, shoes are so superficial, right?
Yeah, the truth is, for so long, every time you've had a conversation about Black History Month, it's always been us focusing on the oppression, focusing on slavery. And it's not that that storyline is not true, but it's something interesting that President Trump recently said. He wanted to focus on the triumphs, the valor, the way that we showed up in the first Rhode Island and during the Revolutionary War and fought side by side with white men for the independence of this country. Those are the things that I want to focus on. The Buffalo Soldiers, or the 51st, the 54th Massachusetts, who fought in the Civil War. They fought and labored alongside other Americans to demonstrate that this country is as much ours as everyone else.
All right. I want to put that question to everybody.
So let me start by saying this. The reason why I chose to go in that direction was because when I was at the White House, I was so grateful that Donald Trump didn't talk to us from this position of, kind of how like liberals talk to you, like you need the white liberal as a savior. Donald Trump chose to focus on, no, this is what y'all did and how y'all contributed to the flourishing and the independence of this nation. He talked about bravery and valor and fighting alongside the white man for the independence of this country, which tells me he does not view us as electoral serfs or some victim class that needs to be pitied, but rather, no, if you you're gonna suit up and you're gonna fight and you're gonna wear a U.S. Army military uniform, then you it's yours because you put in the grit and you showed bravery and you fought alongside of us. So it's just as much yours as it is ours. So first thing I want to say is, as you guys know, I've been doing a lot of work and collaboration with TPUSA Rise lately. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to thank them under the direction of Pierre Wilson and the entire team there for trusting me with this task of going on Fox News. Pierre and the entire team at Rise, they are working incredibly hard behind the scenes. So I am so grateful for their friendship and for the opportunity just to collaborate on such a huge media opportunity as this. Now, with that said, I've chosen to align myself with Rise because the whole TPUSA Rise mission and their vision, it's something that I can get behind, right? The worldview and the philosophy that undergirds TPUSA Rise, it is very simple. Eventually, you've got to move on and look ahead. You've got to reach, influence, strengthen, and equip. And you can't do any of those things if you're constantly dwelling on your oppression. And so this is why I'm happy to be aligned with them. And Rise, when they approached me with saying, hey, we love what you're doing. Here's what our focus for the future is going to be on. It's going to be on faith, family, and shifting the culture away from oppression to walking in true American liberty. And I said, listen, that's something I can get behind. So I just wanted to expand on what I was trying to tell Harris. Listen, yes, slavery happened. Jim Crow happened. No one's denying that. Real oppression happened. Everybody knows, right, that we were once slaves. But if the only storyline that you feed people is suffering, that doesn't produce leaders. You end up just producing dependents who can't figure out their way in the world because they're too busy wallowing in the suffering. Booker T. Washington, who was he was born a slave, emancipated at 9 years old. When emancipation came for him, y'all, Booker T didn't focus on the hard times. He looked ahead. He kept his eyes focused forward. And his goal was, listen, I've got to prepare myself for what it is like to live as a free man. And I may not know what that is, but I'm darn sure going to figure it out. But yet you have some people who've built an entire career off of keeping Black folks emotionally tethered to the tragedy. I don't know about you, but that is depressing for me. Because if you believe that you are permanently oppressed, you'll forever permanently outsource everything in your future to the government, hoping that they're going to make it better. Yet you claim this is the same government that you claim is the oppressor. That doesn't make sense to me. So what I was trying to convey is that, yes, Black history is it is bravery that we saw in the Revolutionary War. So many of us have never even been told that Black men fought in the Revolutionary War. Like when we're fighting against King George to gain our independence, when George Washington was like, say what now? Oh, I'll show you better than I could tell you. The 1st Rhode Island Regiment, we would not have won those battles without the participation of men who are like, don't give us anything. We will fight for it. Our history includes valor in the Civil War, fighting against the Confederates, despite the fact that you did have some black slaves in the South who fought for the Confederacy. I told y'all, some of y'all still love your master. You loved them then and you love them now. Common sense would tell you if the Union Army's like, hey, come fight for us, get your freedom. Some of the slaves was down there digging the ramparts and the ditches. Who does that? Somebody that loves their master? Love this dirty drawers? Yes, they did. So for me, we can tell that story, and to me, that's nothing to be proud about. Or we can talk about the emancipation post-slavery, right? And we can talk about the entrepreneurship that happened after that. We can even talk about during Jim Crow, how yes, we were segregated, but we were building our own. We can talk about all of it. We can talk about the black inventors. Wonderful. We can talk about having strong faith in God and strong black families. Those are the things that I want to talk about, but most of that has been lost because we've been wallowing in the shallow and the silly. We've been wallowing in the oppression. So I'm like, is it no wonder that we can't figure out how to move forward because we're not building anything because we're still wallowing in the pain of the past. So no, I'm not here to perform sorrow every February. I don't want to attend a political funeral. I want to acknowledge the truth, but honor the triumph. And this is really a pattern of let's not sit down and stay broken. It's look at how the Lord brought us out, right? Like we should be rejoicing at what the Lord did for us. Rejoicing in a message of deliverance and overcoming. That's what the children of Israel did. They didn't want to remember how Pharaoh did them, how he beat them. Like, come on, y'all. Remember how he brought you out, how he provided manna in the desert. Focus on the deliverance. But sadly, some of us can't do that because you're still a slave. And I know that hurts and that cuts deep, but this is Unshakable with April. That's what we do over here, okay? I just said, tell it like it is. You're ideologically stuck on the Democrat plantation, and sadly, some of y'all will die. You will die on that plantation while the rest of us go and function in our freedom. So, I said more on this. I'm going to upload the whole 8-minute and 15-second segment on my channel. But I just wanted to take a few moments to define. I keep using this term that I used later in this segment. I talked about functioning in your freedom. I say it a lot. And when I talk about freedom, I'm not talking about do whatever you want. No. That's lawlessness. That's not freedom. When I talk about us fully functioning in our freedom, I'm referring to moral agency, being responsible, taking ownership, having some dignity about yourself. Freedom is when you have the ability to work and build unencumbered, protecting your own family, not abdicating that responsibility to the government alone, waiting for them to come save you. No, I protect me and mine here. I keep Jesus in my heart. Y'all already know. My 9mm on the hip. And y'all, I felt so insecure in New York City with no gun on me. I was like, this ain't, I can't live here. I'm just saying. I'm 5'2" and I'm under 150 pounds finally. So I need lead. I need it because you never know. People are crazy. But freedom for me is worshiping God without coercion and speaking my mind freely without fear of punishment. Being able to raise my own kids without the state trying to co-parent and share custody of my children with them. I don't do that. And I absolutely refuse to be ideologically bullied by a bunch of cowards who couldn't walk a week in my shoes because they're too whiny and too weak to do so. So why am I gonna be afraid of them? So freedom is not do what I want to do, let me go and sin in peace. No, freedom is I can walk upright. And I don't need permission from Caesar. And the reason why that matters politically is because when people are trained to see the government as their savior and their rescuer and their provider and to look to the government for moral authority, you're no longer a citizen. You're a dependent now. You are what I call, you're the electoral serfs to be owned and managed. And that's not me. And that is the sentiment I was trying to convey on Fox. And so Trump's support with black men has doubled. That is amazing. It's not a mystery. It is not magic. It's not even because black people, we suddenly became confused. Do not let the liberal media gaslight you. Trump is winning more black support because a growing number of black Americans, especially our men, and they should be celebrated for this, they are tired, right? They're tired of being treated like the Waltham campaign did. Automatically, oh, well, she got that in the bag because she black and she a woman. Lies, lies, you say. Men are tired of being treated like old automatic votes, permanent victims, and they're tired of being held emotionally hostage to a party that has done nothing but lie to them and then make matters worse. These black men got sense enough to know that when they look in their communities, they're like, ain't no rich white Republicans in charge nowhere. It's these darn Democrats, black ones at that keep us subjugated. And so, yes, in his inaugural address or when he won this last election, Trump thanked black voters publicly. And that matters. It is basic respect. And men identify. They don't have to like you, but they're like, that's respect right there. That's all we ask, right? That is something that the left never shows. They play in your face and disrespect you. Talk about, I'm dumb and black and slow, just like you. Gavin Newsom, and then what he said, I'm low IQ, the 960 SAT. I can't read. My mama fed me, she fed me processed food and I was latchkey. Ain't had no daddy. Just how y'all, that, like, I'm just like you. They they say stuff like that. And black men, weak black men, like that Andre Dickens just sat there and laughed it off. You coward. You should have told him where to go and how to get there, but you can't because you weak. But anyway, the bigger picture and the bigger piece of all of this is black men are waking up because they can feel what the left sells. They know that with the left, you're not going to get anything but more dependency. And black men don't want that. Black men want to stand up and be men, right? They see all this toxic feminism out here and how the left is undermining manhood, and they absolutely don't want that either, right? They know take Quayshawn in the hood. They know he's the problem. And they're like, if you're going to have soft on crime policies, that's going to produce hard consequences for us who still live in the hood. They are tired of the constant racial agitation. It never ends. It never ends. They're just like, what we supposed to be mad about now? They're tired. And so men started thinking about, what is it that I'm going to need from political representation in order for me to protect my own family? Because I'm grown. I don't need you. I can do that. How am I going to build some wealth? Are you going to move the artificial weights out of my way so I can own a business and leave a legacy for me and mine? When they started looking at that, that's when they started looking for an agenda that supported growth and not grievance. And the Democrats fell flat on that. And so Trump's gains didn't just happen in a vacuum. So many of us worked incredibly hard. I've been on this platform since 2022, and I haven't been out here by myself. We have influencers and creators and commentators, organizers, even pastors with backbones who have been working and speaking for years to tell the truth. And we didn't have to be paid to do it because we were compelled by conviction to speak the truth regardless of the cost. Believe it, we counted the cost. Or at least I know I did. And I was like, I ain't got nothing to lose. We know the Democrats have exploited black pain as some sort of renewable energy source for decades. They have no solutions. They don't even run on solutions. All they have is resentment. We hate Trump. And can we get you hooked on some more government dependence? Like how much EBT you need? Y'all need some food stamps? Y'all need some health care? What you need? What can we provide for you? Because you too weak to go out there and get it and hunt for yourself. That's what you get. And so I don't care who gets mad. Many of these these shifts came from people like me. This messaging did not come from the GOP. I'm just saying. I refuse to let the GOP even take credit. They did nothing. We did this. We're the ones who took the hits, got called names, lost friends, had families disavow us. We got blacklisted, deplatformed. Some people lost their jobs, unfollowed. We stood 10 toes down because we didn't give a darn. The truth was going to be told, and that's not selling out. We stood up. And so this is the result. And so when I say don't celebrate oppression, I'm not denying history. I'm saying don't let trauma be your whole brand. That's weak. Okay? Black history is not only what happened to us, it's what God brought us through. And we built anyway. That's the conservative message, because it's treating Black Americans like we are moral agents, not some helpless little mascots. I'm not political property. I ain't your child. I am not a pawn. I'm an American. I tap dance for nobody. And more importantly, many of us, because many in the Black community were raised with a semblance of faith or connection to God, we're like, you know what? I got to be accountable to God for this vote. And these little freak nasty Democrats are doing too much. So for that, I got to stand on the side of right, because y'all are just as wrong as two left shoes. So anyway, that's what I wanted to, not that I knew I wasn't gonna be able to say all of that, but that was the sentiment that I was trying to convey on Fox News. And so thank you for obliging my soliloquy. And let me get to these super chats. I'm so grateful for all of you guys who show up and support via the super chat, because it means a lot. First of all, it takes some steps. I've done a super chat before. I was like, this is a lot of steps. So thank you, you guys. Shout out to my friend Henry. He goes, April is on fire. Literally, I am kind of hot. Shout out to our girl, Crystal Jenkins, y'all. She's a real one. She is a real one. I don't know nobody that would have got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, drove 3 hours for a 8-minute hit. 8 minutes. She was there every step of the way, trying to keep me calm and just be a support. And I will forever be grateful for her to that. I don't know if she's watching, but Crystal, I love you. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I really do. Blue Ray of Sunshine. Thank you for your super chat tonight. Says, what you're doing is important. Shifting the narrative to something powerful, positive, and affirming for people of color is how real change begins. I see you, I support you, and I'm standing with you. That's what it's all about. Y'all, we are stronger together than all of the hate and vitriol that comes our way. Just let it roll off your back. Do y'all realize that the more they hate and try to tear you down, the more God opens up doors and elevates you, and you keep winning? Like Trump was like, we keep winning. We can't stop. We winning so much. It's like we can't help but win. I love that. I absolutely love it. You got to be a winner. I'm not a loser. Now, you want to be a loser, that's fine. You go on there and lose over there by yourself. Riri Brooklyn said, OMG, I'm late to your live stream. Girl, it's okay. I'm just out here running my mouth. We ain't even talked about Iran yet. So you are just fine. Y'all was great on Fox News. I love your outfit and noticed your shoes fetish. Yes, girl. God bless you and your family always. I do. I get that from my mom. My mother was a shoe girl, honey. On Sunday, Georgiana's shoe game was on point. My mama's house shoe game was on point. My mother used to wear, my mother's slippers in the house had a heel on them. She's 2 inches shorter than me. She would never wear flats. And to this day, I hate wearing flats. If I have to wear flats, I just feel like, I was like, I'm just doing this wrong. Something's wrong. And maybe it's we have a preoccupation with being so low to the ground. I don't know what it is. It's something about a heel that when I see it, I'll be like, I mean, I can hear the music in my head. I'll be like, oh, yeah. I can't explain it. I just love shoes. Not all shoes are created equal. I love a good heel. And it's really the simplicity of the heel. I don't like a clunky, platformy kind of heel. It's a certain kind of heel that I like. Like, you want to buy, listen, I know you ain't supposed to buy people's shoes, but Robert, you buy me a shoe. You can almost get anything you want. You can almost get anything you want. Anyway, this is my friend J Pitt City. He goes, you were awesome on that panel on Fox News. I didn't see it because I barely watch TV. Neither do I. But that's how BHM, Black History Month, should be celebrated. Not talking about being a victim for the entire month. Y'all, that's this. When I say, I don't know a time in my life. I've no known memories of not knowing Jay. I just don't. Like, we've known each other since playing blocks. I just don't remember not knowing you. That's about how long we've known each other. It's amazing. One of my best friends in the world. Absolutely. Shout out to TC Jammin'. Thank you so much for that super chat. And support our shield sends another one. Them heels almost killed that ambulance. They did almost died. It's okay. What you gotta understand, you got to count the cost. Okay, you can't buy a shoe and not recognize there's gonna be some pain involved. Right? You do a risk assessment and you're like, okay, I could be flying this shoe for 2 hours and they're gonna hurt probably for an hour and 45 minutes. But it's like, it is what it is. You just have to tell yourself in the mind, I mean, for the first hour, you tell yourself they don't hurt, but they do. They do. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's not going away. They almost killed me. They did. But thank you so much for that super chat, friend. Anyway, y'all, we have got to talk. Y'all, Trump is that dude. Okay, yes. I'm almost, Donald Trump is gonna go down as, he's up there in my book. You don't have to feel this, and you can judge me however you want. He's up there with George Washington. And I didn't really have a real strong appreciation for George Washington until recently, when I just started reading history and just realizing George was crazy, y'all. Like, this dude, George Washington, he was just ready to fight, and he was about that life. He was just like, I'm dying for this. This my country. And I'm not saying he wasn't flawed, but it didn't matter. It did not matter. George Washington was that dude. I promise you, you really need to research the history and the battles. And he was an amazing military soldier. Aside from being a president, you can't make me hate George Washington. I don't care. Mount Vernon, all the slaves, yes, because they could have left at any time, and they loved them some George Washington, just like Thomas Jefferson slaves loved them some Thomas Jefferson, okay? But listen, Trump is back to playing 4D geopolitical chess, okay? And this time, he is handling his global enemies like it's family business. How many of y'all put a GF in the chat if you have seen The Godfather, whether you've seen 1, 2, or 3, or all of them? Just type GF for me. Trump is out here handling family business. Okay, y'all, I watched The Godfather for the first time this year, and I'm sorry, Trump is officially Don Corleone. Okay, that's my guy. Okay, he is veto. Okay, Trump just oversaw a strike that killed Iran's supreme leader, hitting the heart of the regime, you guys, that has spent decades funding terror from Gaza to Lebanon to Yemen. And he didn't even flinch. Yo, Trump came in there like, listen, okay, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Trump hit where it counts and did a whole press conference and announced it proudly to the whole world. So the first thing we got to do is we got to take a look at this clip. I got to find it first. I still got Harris Faulkner up here. So let me get to the Trump clip. Hold on a second. Where are my bookmarks? Here we go.
6 hours.
No, Don, don't talk yet. I ain't ready for you. Hold on. All right. Let's take a look to this clip. Like, he just gonna tell you in his most presidential Don Vito Corleone self. Listen to him explain.
The United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons that would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help.
Notice how he said, take back your country. Y'all keep trying to call this man a dictator and a tyrant, and it's about let us help you liberate yourself so you can take your own country back. Okay, so listen, let me go on. We're going to bring everybody up to speed, okay? I see your super chats. I will get to them momentarily. But what I want to do is I want to bring everybody up to speed. And I also wanted to just take a moment to let Trump speak in his own words. Because he's so simple, but he's so matter of fact. He's like, listen, it's going to be very bad. Like, it's going to be, more people going to die. Don't make us have to kill you, but if we have to, we will. Surrender or else it's going to be bad. Like, he doesn't get into the details. He's just like, listen, if you haven't checked my record by now, this is going to be real bad for you. So, bringing everybody up to speed, you got the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. I think that's how you say his name. He's been the supreme leader of Iran since 1989. And he dead. Okay, y'all, the ninja's dead now. Okay, it's over. Okay, lights out. Sayonara, good night. And buenas noches. Okay, whatever language, it's over for him. And this has been confirmed by the Iranian state. They basically, the media, at first they was lying, but there was a coordinated strike by the U.S. and Israel. For all the Jew haters out there, yes, we our little brothers, we had to come to the aid, and they was like, we got your back. Let's go on and let's take them out, right? The operation, you guys, it was massive. I don't think we understand. We're so used to enjoying freedoms and sleeping at night that we don't understand how Trump is the commander-in-chief. He's the leader of the army. And you got Pete Hegseth, and you have so many amazing military men. The coordination that men have to go through, the logic and the reason that they have to muster up to coordinate this, not based on emotion, but tactical and calculated. I don't want that kind of stress on me, okay? I'm up 1 minute, down the next. Don't give me nuclear codes or the power of the military. This is why, no shade, I can't have a female president. No woman could have handled and led the most massively strongest army in the world and completed this mission. It would have been a mess, okay? Especially, listen, don't vote for a perimenopausal or menopausal woman in the highest office of the land. That's just not gonna happen. It can't. I won't allow it. I will pull a press conference and be like, we can't have this it's a national security risk to put these women in office. Let us we got to get past that. Okay. Maybe if you 70 and even by that point you're too old, osteoporosis done set in. No, we just need to stay out. We need to stay out of the higher levels of like the executive branch, maybe a support role, but the commander in chief, absolutely not. But this operation was massive. Okay, there were missiles and jets and intelligence assets that were targeting Iran's top leadership, hitting command centers, and just trying to obliterate their entire military infrastructure. Now, the sad part about this is we did lose 3 U.S. service members. They were killed bravely fighting. We should have nothing but respect for them. You guys, the American military is the best in the world, and you need to thank our servicemen because we sleep well at night knowing that men are willing to go and do battle with our enemies so that we don't have to. Okay? Now, the first thing I need to do is we need to talk about who was this dude, right? The Ayatollah Khamenei dude. I pulled up a little. Where'd it go? I pulled up some information on exactly who he is. So let's see. As soon as I find it. All right. Here we go. I'm still looking. I'll find it eventually. Okay, maybe I won't. It's got to be in here somewhere. All right, let's go back to the beginning. Oh, okay. So, who's this dude, right? This wasn't some random like warlord, right? That's not what this was. This dude was essentially like the CEO of Iran's entire ethnocentric empire. It's like the empire with religious authority and then the political rule. And then he's like the military commander, like all wrapped up in like a little black turban. So just think that. And so we need to be clear. We need to be clear about who he was. Under his leadership, you guys, Iran, they didn't just mind their business. Don't let the left is trying to make you think they was over there doing nothing, just minding their business. No, they became, under this man's leadership, the hub, the connector, the entire funding source for anti-Western militias all across the region. From Beirut to Yemen. If there was a group chanting death to America, Iran's fingerprints were usually somewhere close by. Okay? Now, while they were doing that, these jokers kept playing like this whole nuclear shell game, like, oh, we're not building weapons. We don't even know what you're talking about. Who? Us? No, sir. That was not us. We don't know nothing about no weapons. All we're doing is just creating peaceful energy. This is what they tried, the wool that they tried to pull over our eyes. Now, meanwhile, the entire international community, they were kind of side-eyeing this monster like, yeah, okay, we really know what you're doing. Trump, not just Trump, Biden, Obama, they all knew what he was doing, but inside of our own country, they knew and did nothing about it. Over there, though, in Iran, the way this man was ruling, if you dissented, that dissent was not tolerated. You had women, there were protests, and women were killed, and they were having the whole regime just cracked down hard on anybody who dared be like, hey, we don't like that, just kill them all. There was extreme violence. Suppression was everywhere. So this man wasn't some misunderstood reformer. No, this was a regime that was built on force, externally and internally. He's not some benevolent ruler who just lost his job and God rest his soul. No, this man built a religious, political gangster state. And all they did was export chaos everywhere. And he paid for it in blood. Iranian and foreign blood alike. He didn't care. Now, here's the thing that was just so interesting to me. Because the left is so full of hypocrisy, How is it that every media outlet in Washington suddenly they value human rights? And I'm like, nobody believes y'all, because if that was true, why did it take killing this man for something to change? Like, why is it that this dude has been a bloody, evil tyrant against his own people for years? This wasn't some kind of kindergarten diplomacy where maybe we should just invite the bad guy to tea and hope that he acts right. No, Trump had to hand down a message like the Godfather has handed out respect or consequences. Your choice, which one it's going to be. America's enemies. We have been weak, and America's enemies have known that we are weak. They have smelled the weakness. And all Trump did was remind them that, listen, I don't know what you heard, but we set the terms here. Okay? So the only people who are crashing out, losing their minds are Democrats because they hate America. Okay? They're cheering for sanctions, and the rest of the world is looking like, man, America is back. That is strength right there. There are two other players. They're trying to clutch their pearls and act shocked. You got China and Russia. But these two they're not shocked. They are mad. They are pissed to high heavens because strong American action, like Trump going in saying, we gonna make it do what it do, that disrupts their leverage. So instead of celebrating Iran's demise as this blow to terror, these punks got the nerve to be crying like China. King of human rights violation. He out here talking about this is a violation of sovereignty. And I'm like, cut the theatrics. He's only doing that because if we're going to be honest, all of the powerful nations, they don't like seeing the United States reassert dominance on the world stage. They liked it when Joe Biden and Barack Obama was acting all weak and whiny and gay because that made life easier for them. Trump is not that guy, okay? Do y'all want to know what Trump wants? He wants a world that knows without a shadow of a doubt that the U.S. means what it says. If we say we come to kill you, you can take that to the bank. Take that check, endorse the back, because it's going to be good, right? He wants a world where the tyrants will think twice before they even remotely fix their lips, before they can even pronounce that they're going to threaten America or its allies. He like, I wish you would. You're going to think carefully before you say what you're about to say. That's Trump. He wants a world where all of the global bullies, they have to reconsider before they make their move because he's relentless. This man was relentless to get back in the White House. He was relentless. He's like, no matter what y'all throw at me, I win. Okay? America's not used to a winning model like this. He doesn't lose. He always wins. And so while the left whines that conflict is bad and war is so evil, mind you, this is the party that murders babies wholesale up to the 9th month and will let a baby who survives an abortion sit in a cold little isolate on a tray and be like, just let it freeze to death. You know, she didn't want it. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like the rest of us know. We know that world peace was never secured by capitulation. And so Trump doing this, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is like World War III. No. A war requires another party to actively participate. This ain't a war. This is a takedown, okay? It sends a message, and a very real one at that. And the message is, it's not some soft, weak, jellyback soy boy kind of message like they would have gotten under Biden and Obama. No, this was the powers that be, China and Russia. They've been watching U.S. foreign policy. They've watched it crumble and be real wobbly and weak for a long time. Trump just put our enemies on notice and said, listen, you can't bully America. and think you can do what you want to do. We are not going to allow you to finance proxies to destabilize the world and then just expect us to be like, okay, we're going to bow. Trump's like, my name ain't Jimmy Carter, okay? I ain't grow up on no peanut farm. I'm not Obama, and I sure as hell am not Joe Biden. My name is Trump from Queens, okay? I run this here juke joint. He's like, trust me. I hope you heard. And I'm like, I heard him loud and clear. I know they heard him too. Trump is letting anybody who wants to mess around, they're going to find out that you can't sit across from us at a negotiation table, Putin, while secretly funding terror. We're not going to let that happen. So if we're going to be honest, that's why the left is mad. These brain dead morons, they're the only ones who cheer for weak foreign policy. That's why I say they're gay. They want you to cheer for weak foreign policy, kowtow, make little backroom deals, sending pallets of money to our enemies. The left is the only one celebrating when our enemies condemn us for taking decisive action, because that's exactly what China and Russia are doing right now. They're calling this strike, oh, this was so unacceptable, right? They're urging ceasefires and giving out warnings and talking about they want to have diplomatic talks. We are beyond diplomatic talks, okay? We're here now, okay? Get over it. I want you guys, there's this clip that I want you to listen to as soon as I find it. Here it goes. All right, hold on.
Wake up and get past.
I didn't say talk. I just said listen to the clip. That's what I had said. All right. Listen to this CNN clip. You know it's bad when a Democrat has to tell Democrats to get a grip and quit being dumb. Okay, that's when you know it's bad. Take a listen to this.
I think that it is imperative the Democratic Party wake up and get past their dislike of Donald Trump, the President Trump, and their feelings of international conflicts going on. This is about national security. This is about what is possible in the Middle East. This is about being a good neighbor, good partner to the Gulf states and what their aspirations are. This is about supporting the people of Venezuela. This is about dismembering our relationship with, or not dismembering, but resetting our relationship with China. Right now, 55% of the oil production that Iran produces goes to China despite sanctions. You want to support the people of Ukraine, you want to end that war, you have to, there is no getting around dismembering this Islamic Republic. It is non-negotiable. It is not a want to have, it is a have to have, and it's not just for the Iranian people. I think you have to trust the Iranian people. We know this government better than anyone else. When you dismember and decapitate this regime, you are going to see a change in the Middle East, in Venezuela, in China, in Ukraine. And I think, quite frankly, their ideology has really, it's caused a lot of problems for us worldwide. We need to take it seriously. And I think at this point, we have a tremendous opportunity. This will be like ending the Soviet Union, the Berlin Wall. This is a transformational moment for humankind, for security. And as an American, this is in our interest to complete it. So I am a Democrat. I have been a huge Democrat. I am incredibly disappointed with my party. I do not see myself in them in this moment.
Moj and Masi.
Listen.
I think
Sis laid it out. This is the line in the sand that is going to separate those who love America and all that it has offered and provided, and those who hate America. To hear this woman say that is a death blow to Democrats, because they're out here, she's basically saying, quit being dumb. Your Trump derangement has caused you to be blinded to how historic and real of that this moment is right now. You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side. This woman did not come on CNN to bash Trump. She's like, this bigger than Trump. She came on here as a lifelong Democrat who's watching her own party freak out over Trump so much that they can't even see the historic opportunity right in front of them. She essentially was like, listen, wake up, okay? Your hatred of Trump is so reflexive that you're missing the fact that we might be staring at a tectonic shift in global security. This is as big as the Berlin Wall falling. I talked to a friend who was like, honestly, we can simplify it. You want to pay $50 a gallon for gas? I was like, no. He was like, fine, then you need to be happy. You don't need, that's it. This could be a moment that the Middle East changes effectively. America becomes safer. It requires someone with testicular fortitude to be like, we got to shut this mess down. It's been going on for too long. 50 years. 50 years. And that is not some crazy fringe view. This is someone who's actually lived under the regime. She knows what it's like to be afraid for your family, afraid for your country, desperate for change. And when Trump just decides to be like, listen, baby, what you gonna do? Well, how you want to handle this? You got him, I got him. You want to tag team and do it together? All right, bet. We rolling out in the morning and let's just go on and handle this. Okay, that's Trump. Okay. The Democrats, here's the real takeaway for this. A Democrat Iranian America. This woman, that's what she represents. She's like, I'm a Democrat, I'm Iranian born, but I'm an American citizen. She just told her own party, y'all's hatred for Trump is so bad. You're messing up. You're fumbling the bag. This woman has lived it, right? The rest of the world is watching. And I thought it was important to play this clip in particular because the left wants to grab a hold of the narrative. They hate when Trump does anything good, and they definitely don't want him to win. I have another clip. I don't care if you're not a fan of him. I don't have any beef with Mark Levin. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get this clip as soon as it opens up. Don't play. Courage. It's going to play. Let me grab it, pull it right back over here. And I should have just left that screen share scene up. My apologies, you guys. Before we do that, let's get to these super chats because I don't want to forget. Shout out to Faith from VA. Hello, beautiful. How are you? Thank you so much for the support. She sends the little Sheba dog rolling on the floor, laughing out loud. Thank you for your support. I greatly appreciate it. We also have Mr. Info 5000. Our president does not F around. He does not. He's about that life. And I'm so glad. Oh, gosh, I'm so glad to have a masculine man in the White House. It's almost as if we've been raised by a single mom for the past 16 years. And now our mom decided to get married to a good man. He ain't perfect. He got some flaws. It's like Savannah. He's a good man, right? He got some issues, but he a good dude. And he comes in the house and he's like, all right, y'all been wilding for too long. Okay, we about to set some things in order. Here's how this is going down, what you're not going to do. And he lays out the law and the kids start wilding out. And they start talking about what they going to do. And I can't wait till I can get up out this house. And he's trying to grow you up and make you into a man. He's just trying to raise you right. He's trying to course correct from all that time that you sat just up under your mama where she babied you and coddled you, made you dependent. You're lazy. She didn't give you no chores. Didn't raise you to be a man and a fully functioning adult. That's what America's going through right now. It's some growing pains from that. You know how it is. You've been living under your mama, no male authority. You just like rules. We do what we want to do around here. What you mean we got to get up and cut the grass and we got to help with the groceries too? You can't just bring them to our room? Trump's like, oh, no, we That's Trump. Trump is the stepdaddy that married your mom and it's like, I'm going to love you even if you don't love me because my job is to keep you safe and turn you into a man. And when I leave, all's going to be right. But it's going to hurt for a little bit. That is the presidency of Donald Trump. Dang, that was a good analogy. I'm glad I thought of that. Thank you. Anyway, I want you guys to hear this clip of Mark Levine on Sean Hannity's show. If I had a Hammond B3, I'd be like, listen, this Jew boy is preaching, okay? He is preaching. Listen to him.
And Levin, right here on the Fox News channel. I call him the great one, Mark Levin. You know, Mark, you were on the show last night, and we were talking about the difference between President Trump and some people on the left. And President Trump has this very keen sense of history. You are a historian. And we talked about the last century and Mao in China and Stalin in Russia and Hitler in Germany and Mussolini and fascism and Tojo in Japan and Pol Pot in the killing fields. And I think through the prism of history, Donald Trump in this last 21 hours is going to be judged as having seen the world at its potential worst if this regime, this Nazi fascist regime, ever would have achieved their goal, their ambition of nuclear weapons. And I want to get your thoughts specifically on that.
Donald Trump did what nobody else could do for half a century. How do you like that? And you know why he did it? Because he loves his country. And you know why he did it? Because he's humane. He saw people slaughtered and he wanted to put an end to it. That's why he did it. Now, it's time that we Americans have to come to grips with something. We have a party in this country, the Democrat Party, that hates the country. Here we are in the middle of a spectacular, humane peace mission where people were being slaughtered. They were being slaughtered right up to the minute we attacked them. We've been talking about it. They've slaughtered our soldiers. They've slaughtered our citizens, our embassy personnel. They come into our country and try and assassinate people. They're the biggest promoters of terrorism. And the Democrats immediately, knee-jerk, they defend the terrorists, like they defend the illegal aliens and the criminals. There's something wrong with that party.
They retarded.
That at a time we should be celebrating the most spectacular military act I've ever seen, Khomeini's gone in 20 hours? While their president, Biden, was funding the Iranians billions of dollars, while Obama was paving the way for them to have nuclear weapons. Donald Trump loves this country. He knows right from wrong. And we've had a real psyop going on in this country for 10 years against this man, where they try and pretend he's the authoritarian, he's the dictator. No, they are. They talk about the War Powers Act of 1973. Anybody who is a serious constitutional lawyer knows that act is unconstitutional. I see all these lawyers writing these pieces like they're smart. They're dumb. And every administration, Republican and Democrat, has questioned it. But they haven't brought it to the Supreme Court because neither the Congress or the president wants a resolution. When you have Schumer, who's basically sliding and walking and weaving, all of a sudden he's excited because he can cripple our armed forces in the middle of a war that they're winning. That's what Schumer's doing. Schumer, who supported the Obama nuclear plan, and they would have nuclear weapons today. That's Schumer. Then I see these other people say, Trump hasn't made the case. Trump hasn't made the case. He made the case in 8 minutes. Overwhelming. But why do we need anybody to make the case? Do you have eyes? Do you have ears? Are you an American citizen? Do you know what this regime's been doing? Do you know what it's done to our soldiers? Do you know what it's done to our citizens? Do you know we have people without limbs, without faces, without eyes as a result of that regime? What do you mean we haven't made the case? Are you really that stupid? And I think they are. But that party hates this country. I love when they wave around the Constitution. They hate the Constitution. They use it to attack it. They believe that illegal aliens are citizens. They believe that terrorists should be given the benefit of the doubt. Listen, if they had their way, Donald Trump would have sent Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth and others to go to Congress and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to attack them at 3 a.m. We're going to use these kinds of forces. We're going to work with the Israelis. This is what we're going to do. Now tell the other 530 members of Congress what we're going to do. Wow, nobody would leak that. Would they, Bernie Sanders and AOC and Tlaib? Of course not. Let me tell you what the founders of this country believed. They changed the word from making war in the first draft of the Constitution to declaring war. They specifically took that out because they don't want the Chuck Schumers of the world making decisions. The only person in Washington, D.C. who's elected by all the people, other than the vice president, is the president of the United States. Chuck Schumer's elected from New York. Bernie Sanders is elected from Vermont. They wanted the commander-in-chief to be elected by the entirety of the nation. And they're even talking about impeaching him if they take the House of Representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an enemy within, and it is the Democrat Party. Every reprobate, miscreant, and malcontent is in that party. The Marxists and the Islamists are in that party. Do they act like they love the nation? Do they? When we have men and women in uniform, Democrats and Republicans and independents, fighting an enemy, fighting terrorists, the greatest terror regime in the world history, and we're winning. And that's why they're going nuts. We're winning. This is so spectacular what's taking place. And I want our troops to know something. These people who are trying to undermine you, they are a small percentage of the population. We red-blooded Americans, we love victory. And we love you. You are of us. And most of us have had relatives, if not ourselves, in the military. Chuck Schumer means nothing to us. Hakeem Jeffries means nothing to us.
Don't mean nothing.
You, Mr. and Mrs. America, we support our military. We support our commander-in-chief. We support victory. This is a spectacular military operation with our spectacular ally, the Israelis, with their spectacular prime minister. It's working. It's effective. It's spectacular. And these guys, we have to hurry back to Congress. We need to have a vote on the War Powers Act of 1973. This would be the same party that dragged us into Vietnam, right? Was that a declared war? No, it wasn't a declared war. And I could go on and on and on about the hypocrites in that party. It's their president that was about to hand nuclear weapons to this enemy. It's their president who handed them billions of dollars in cash and so forth. This president isn't going to put up with it, and he hasn't. God bless our president. God bless the Prime Minister of Israel. And one last thing, as quickly as I can. All those poor people who died on October 7th, all those hostages who were taken and raped and tortured and murdered and brutalized, this is for you. All of those Americans who are walking around without arms or legs, they're in wheelchairs, have died. All of those people who died in our embassies, all those people who've died from their terrorist acts, this is for you. And this is retribution. And you know what? We Americans like retribution, especially when it comes to dealing with terrorists. Khomeini is dead. He's not 6 feet under. He's in hell.
Y'all, that ninja's dead. Listen, I know that was a long clip, but Mark was cooking. Okay, we had to just let him cook with the fish grease for a minute. I had to let it play. I did. I'm gonna grab these super chats. And let's see. Tommy Arthur says, you make the Pledge of Allegiance meaningful. Oh, I don't know if that was for me or that's a statement, but I agree. Thank you so much for your super chat. My girl right here, Crystal Beyond Labels, says, President Trump said, put some respect on America's name. Donald John Quavius Trump did not come to play. Make masculinity great again. Nice seeing you, April. You guys, I saw Crystal last night at the Georgia Black Republicans Masquerade Ball. We had an amazing time. You guys, she is running for Congress here in Georgia's 6th district against Lucy McBath. And I need to drop the link to her congressional website. We want to get her, make sure she has all that she needs in order to fully run this race well. And so if you guys can dig deep in your pockets, every little bit helps. We have some amazing conservatives running for office, particularly in my great state of Georgia. We have Crystal, we have Kelvin King, who was running for Secretary of State, trying to bring some election integrity. This is a man who is military, owns his own successful business. He is a true American patriot, and we love him, and we want to see him become the next Secretary of State of the great state of Georgia. So I will be probably doing some content about that pretty soon. But in the meantime, let me just grab this last super chat. Thank you so much. TC Jammin', I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that super chat. You guys, I wanted you to see that clip of Mark Levin cooking. He said it perfectly. I'm telling you, y'all. What we saw from Trump, this is the geopolitical equivalent of Vito Corleone just looking a rival in the eye saying, listen, this offer you can't refuse. Like, you ain't got a choice. It's over. Okay? For the last 40 years, Iran has been funding terror, chanting death to America, threatening Israel, destabilizing the entire Middle East, and all the global elites was just like, well, you know, it's kind of complex. Nah, it ain't complex. It ain't hard at all. It's easy. America made a decision, and we responded decisively. And now all of a sudden, the left discovers morality. Iran's supreme leader is dead. Okay, say it out loud. He dead, y'all. Okay? President Trump just handled family business like he's Vito. Cleaning up the loose ends, no long speech, no begging the UN. You don't beg, you assert. He's not going on an apology tour. He said what he said, and he said it with his chest. No consequences. The entire world heard the message. They heard it when we took out Maduro, and they are hearing it again. Okay, America's back. We back. So let me just say it plainly. Like Crystal said, Donald John Quavius Trump sent the message: you don't threaten America. You don't fund terror against our allies. You don't destabilize the globe without thinking that nothing's going to happen to you. And China and Russia have watched what they've perceived as hesitation, because America, we've been run by a sock puppet in a suit, and then before that, the king of Sodom. And so they smelled weakness, right? They tested our boundaries, and they were boldly expanding their influence, playing in our face. Well, that era has just now ended. And so this strike says we're not negotiating from a position of fear. We don't do that, okay? We're winners. We're not apologizing for being strong. And we're not asking for permission to defend our interests. We just come and take it. Okay? Trump didn't just respond. He recalibrated the board. Okay? And please believe, Beijing and Moscow, they pocket watching. They are paying attention. Because when you take out a regime's top authority in one coordinated move, you just reminded everybody watching that I think daddy's home now, so we got to sit up straight and act right. And that's all I got to say about that. That's what we saw, y'all. That was it. That was it. Now, it's 10:16. The last thing I want to do, I'm going to grab a super chat, and then we got to talk. We got to talk about Nicki Minaj, because the NAACP out here being real disrespectful. I'm not shocked, right? I'm not shocked, because this is what they do. Hold on, I got too many screens moving here. This is what they do. Let's grab this super chat from Nick. Nita Tik. I'm slow. I'm sorry. This from Nita, y'all. Nita says hi. Nita sends a super chat. And Nita said, it was Obama's weak policies. You didn't get your full applause, sis. That's more like it. It was Obama's weak policies and secret deals that got us here. Let Trump work. I voted for this. Listen, let the man do his job. When and what grandma said, get out his way and let him do his job. Trump loves this country too much to put us in harm's way. He knows what he's doing. Trust no man, you trust God, but you got to trust the process. Okay? You got to trust the process. Y'all don't know. The left don't know how to lead, they don't know how to govern, they don't know how to assert authority. So this is confusing for them. They're confused. I'm not confused, we're not confused, they're confused. But let's let them be confused. So what we got to do now, I am waiting for, I got to find this Nicki Minaj clip. I promise you. I will find it eventually. I think it's on X. So let me just keep scrolling. And y'all doing all right out there? I can't believe it's a Sunday night and I'm out here like y'all ain't got to go to work tomorrow. I know y'all got to go to work tomorrow. And hold on. No, they're just trying to get my attention. Give me one quick second. We'll find it eventually. Mark Levine cooked. I'm so grateful that Sean Hannity let him cook as long as he did, because it needed to be said. We need to assert and speak the truth and call these jokers out for the evil anti-American miscreants that they are. So I'm glad he did that. I found the clip. It's on X. So let me pull it up. Oh, darn. I closed out. Did I really? All right. Let me open it up again. I know I bookmarked it. Here we go. It is very short, you guys. It is very short. However, the reason why I want to play this clip is because it speaks to the broader problem. No, don't play yet. Now, I need to give a language warning because, as you know, the NAACP don't have no scruples. There's no rules. They don't set boundaries. They wicked. So the language warning is that there is the use of a profane word in, technically it's a donkey, but it's used in a profane way. And he kind of uses it over and over again. But it's 25 seconds. It's not very long. I don't believe I'm going to get a strike for it, but I need to play this clip. But before I play the clip, Nicki Minaj, NAACP Awards. Here's the conclusion that I walked away with. You can sell sex. You can promote degeneracy. Like, full stop. You can glorify all kinds of chaos and violence and just be vile and wicked. But the moment that you think for yourself politically, now they got to cut you. Because now you're a problem, right? You're dangerous. And they got to send the dogs out because you've messed up. And now they have to take this as an opportunity to mock you and shame you and publicly humiliate you. They did this at an awards show. And this was done by people who they claim to represent the advancement of the coloreds, right? I've long been saying, this is not the first time I've addressed the NAACP, but they're not advancing anybody. And they are not advancing colored people. I'm going to tell you, they are advancing Democrat groupthink. That's it. I have said, and I don't apologize for saying this, that the NAACP is trash and they have been trash for decades. This is what they do. They're making it very clear for everyone to see that if you don't bow, we'll socially lynch you. So we're going to talk about what happened at the NAACP Image Awards, and it proves yet again that Blackness in America is no longer about your melanin or your ethnicity. It is about being anti-God and being pro-cultural Marxism. That's what this is about. So let me summarize what happened, and then we'll show the clip. At a recent NAACP Image Award show, I can't even remember the name of this little unfunny comedian, but he used the platform time to mock and shame Nicki Minaj over her political views. So let's take a listen. 25 seconds. If you got sensitive ears, send them out the room, please. Thank you.
Lord, we want you to bless our sister Nicki Minaj, Lord, yes. She's been going through a lot lately, Lord. It hasn't been herself, Lord. I believe whatever's in her ass is affecting her brain, Lord. Take it out of her ass, Lord. We bind that spirit in her ass, Lord.
Are y'all shocked of the blasphemous prayer? This man is praying and referring to the female appendage in a profane way. Hear me clearly. I get it. The left they have no sense. They are who they are. But what I want to do is I want to explain what this 25 seconds is really all about. Hear me clearly. I am not covering this just because Nicki Minaj showed up at AmFest. I'm no Nicki Minaj apologist. I'm very careful when it comes to ideology and big tent conservatism. I'm not that. I'm not the big tent. Okay. I believe that we've kind of let in. Not that you need to have. We're not looking for ideological perfection. This is not Christendom. It's not the body of Christ. It's politics, right? But I've seen where we give visibility and platforms to people who've not had their worldview tested yet, and they don't even really know what it means to be a conservative. And we let in what I call the EBT Republican, which is basically you a Democrat, but instead of begging Democrats for stuff, you come over to the right begging the government for stuff. Now, I'm not saying that that's what Nicki Minaj is. That's not it at all. But I do want to explain, this is how Democrats operate. Let's just take a step back, go down memory lane. Nicki Minaj has spent years being celebrated by this same culture, the same industry, the same people, the same awards circuit. She was the bee's knees. As long as she was out here shaking her behind, being lewd, celebrating debauchery, celebrating whole culture, just summoning alter egos, the left was fine. They had no problems with Nicki. But the moment she questioned the establishment narrative, if y'all remember, Nicki first came out and was absolutely skeptical about the COVID vaccine mandate. This is 2021. Y'all remember Nicki tweets that, hey, I'm a little hesitant about this clot shot, okay? Because there's this story of a friend of a cousin who got it, and these are the side effects they experience. All Nicki said was, listen, I just want to do a little bit more research before I take it. Well, why did she say that? Her saying that triggered major media backlash. All of the public health officials are scrambling, trying to respond, because you can't have somebody as influential as Nicki Minaj questioning the narrative, because the blacks might get a clue and not sign up to take the submuscular injectable biologic. Biden's White House reaches out, offering to speak with her, because we just need to see why you thinking like this, ma'am. Like, we need to set you straight. All of that widespread mockery online directed at her. The left reacted strongly. First of all, it's because they all dumb, right? They all think the same way, and they're all a bunch of cowards. So because they are cowards and obedient slaves, if they say put on a mask, you don't question it. You just do it, because thinking for yourself, right? And trying to do what a wise person would do, which is, let me come to my own conclusion. Let me read the science. They didn't even want you to read the science. No, just trust the science. Trust what we say. Whatever it is, that the conclusion that you may have come to, it did not matter. It hurts their heads too much to think. They would rather just tell us, massa government, what to think, because we ain't got time to be doing all that thinking and reading and stuff. That's too hard. They don't want to do that. It was easier to just do what you're told, right? Do what you're told, and for them to strain real hard to think, they ain't want to do that. It hurts too much. Don't ask no questions. When it came to Nicki Minaj, it did not matter that her position was framed as, hey, I'm just having a little personal hesitancy. Can I exercise some bodily autonomy? No. They portrayed her as she out here spread misinformation. Don't listen to her. That's the moment folks should have paid attention to what Nicki Minaj was saying. The moment she said, I don't really think we should be lining up for this biologic. I don't think this is a good thing. I need a minute before I can just get in line. They came for her. But it wasn't just that. Nicki was like, I don't think it's cool to be transitioning children like they kids. Like, why can't they leave the kids alone? Trust me, Nicki's hardly a conservative. It is a known fact. She has supported Democrats in the past, but what y'all don't understand is that people on the left are ideological slaves, and they are a bunch of robots who will sell their own souls just to be accepted. They gotta have a seat at the cool kids table. But they want to call us the sellouts, right? Liberals are the most cowardly bunch of brain-dead robots you will ever meet. Many of them can't even explain why they believe what they believe. Go ahead and call Cardi B right now. But like, hey, why are you endorsing Jasmine Crockett? Outside of her saying, because like she gonna fight for us, and she gonna fight because she a fighter, because she be fighting. That's all she can say. She can't tell you one policy initiative of Jasmine Crockett that's going to help her or her community or the people back home in the Bronx. She can't tell you. That girl has no convictions. She just takes marching orders. A former stripper stealing money from men. That's what she do. She was that then, she's that now. But getting back to Nicki. The moment she refused to parrot approved talking points, suddenly, so now she it's okay. She can be a punchline. Suddenly, she's dangerous. Oh, she's just crazy. I'm like, isn't that interesting? Right? The left they're always talking about celebrating and you got to protect Black women. But what I've noticed is that there are only certain kinds of Black women that deserve this protection that they speak of. And I'll tell you, you got to be hypersexual. You pretty much got to darn near be a hoe to get some protection from them, okay? You have to be incredibly profane, full-blown orangutan, female imbecile who cannot manage her misery. You got to have at least showed out on record once or twice. You have to be chaotic. You got to have multiple baby daddies scattered all over the country. Dysfunctional as hell. They love that. But if you were anything other than that, you must be ridiculed and mocked simply because you don't want to think like them. You showed some legitimate dissent and chose to think differently. Look at what they did to Chrisette Michele. Y'all probably like, you know what happened to that girl? She was invited to sing at the White House in Trump's first term. The pro-woke black mob, the Black Democrat Brigade came after her. We ain't seen that girl since. You got Jasmine Crockett out here, endorsed by Method Man and Cardi B. We had Kamala Harris celebrating all kinds of whoredom on the campaign trail with Meg Thee Stallion. They want to condition the world to associate black women with whoredom. Even if you're running for the highest office of the land, you can't even separate the holes from that. How disgusting is that? But that's who the left is. And that is who they want you to align yourself with. A bunch of thugs, hoes, and rappers. That's who they are. You're not a wife. No, you're trying to keep your home together and stay a family. Oh, we can't celebrate that. That's white. Right? Who wants to be a wife on the left? You're not a mother. No. Now, I mean, you can be a baby mama and have a fatherless child using donor sperm, but surely having a heteronormative nuclear family, that's oppressive. That's racist. If you let them tell it, they'll be like, but that's just whiteness. This 25 seconds, it wasn't even about Nicki. This is about control. The NAACP, for a smidget of time, used to stand for civil rights. Now, truth be told, I've done content digging into the history of this Marxist organization. They've always been Marxists and had a little communistic bent to them, dating all the way back to their founding. But at least at one time, they made the main thing, at least for appearance sake. For example, so many of us have been told and believed that the Montgomery bus boycott ended segregated buses in the South. So many of us were told that. Truth is, the boycott was just the theatrics of it all. The NAACP is who filed a lawsuit with 5 female plaintiffs, of which Rosa Parks was not one of them, for the record, just saying. They filed that lawsuit. The bus boycott started in December of 55. NAACP had already planned. They had gathered the 5 women, the plaintiffs. They filed their lawsuit in either January or February of 56. By June of the same year, the verdict comes down and they're like, oh yeah, this unconstitutional. Y'all can't do this. Quit this out. The buses are desegregated. Now, of course, the Montgomery improvement, it was the NAACP and the Montgomery Improvement Association against the mayor and the city, if I'm not mistaken. They appealed it and went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they upheld the decision. Mind you, the boycott continued until December of that year, but the courts had already ruled in favor of the NAACP. I can legitimately be like, okay, that was worthwhile. That was a noble cause. But now, no. NAACP, they don't stand for anything worthy. What they do now is stand for ideological compliance of everything that goes against advancing the colors, okay? It's no longer about protecting Black Americans from discrimination. Truth be told, if they focused on just that, they'd be irrelevant because they out here manufacturing hate crimes just so they can be like, see, You needed to call us because this had happened. They making up hate crimes. Ain't nobody thinking about black folks like that anymore. They're just not. And when it happens, I'm like, we have legal means to remedy that. But now they figured to be relevant, we got to reinvent ourselves, okay? So now all they're about is protecting and pushing leftist ideology, and anyone dissents away from that, they push everything that destroys Black America instead of advancing Black America. And this is how we know this to be true. All you have to do, look what they allowed to happen at the Image Awards. Basically, if you don't fall in line with their new agenda, they'll treat you like a traitor. They'll let a little washed up, nappy-headed comedian. Now, that's kind of curly. I can't. Is his hair nappy? I don't. No, it ain't. I probably shouldn't have said that. But I don't care. Okay. They'll let him get on stage, be super disrespectful, and they allow it because they assume all of us must think that Nicki's crazy and that we're all gonna agree. He felt comfortable doing this because he's just like, oh, well, you know, amongst the blacks, we need to pray for Nicki because something going on with her, and maybe, Lord, you can get it out her behind. He felt comfortable telling this joke. This is why I tell y'all, blackness, as it's currently packaged in American culture, it's not even about color. It is ideology. This is why Curry Queen herself ain't even black, but she black. Because it's not the color, it's the ideology. Barack Obama, hardly black, but he black. Because it's the ideology. It's about you staying with the group, even to your own detriment. Blackness now is anti-individual, absolutely anti-freedom, absolutely anti-God. And it has to be because Marxism demands collectivism. Christianity, though, demands personal accountability. So those two systems, they can't exist together. They cannot coexist. And to make sure everybody understands the assignment, they give out awards celebrating the thugs, the hoes, and the rappers because they want you to believe that this is the Black excellence. We're all going to gather on the night and celebrate every debaucherous thing that is bringing down the Black culture. But they want you to think that this is cool, and to be cool, you have to be on this side. So what we witnessed, this was not comedy. Yes, okay, you saw some people in the audience laughing. But it was kind of like an awkward laugh because too many of them, if you notice, they all looking around to see, can we laugh? Huh? What we supposed to do? They were all looking around trying to figure out how they were supposed to respond. While the dude, he's telling the joke, he thinks it's a joke. This wasn't a joke. He probably is too slow, or I can't say if they knew he was going to tell this joke, or if they're like, well, you know, if you tell this joke, we'll allow it. This is all a part of the social lynching. And I am not using that word lightly. It is meant to be hyperbolic. It is meant to be provocative. This was public humiliation, public shaming. It's a public signaling, just like the KKK used to do. They would physically lynch you to send out a message to everybody else. If you try this, this was going to happen to you. You're going to be strung up on the tree just like that. You want that to happen to you? Don't pull that stunt no more. That's what the message was. It was clear. Step out of line, and this will happen to you. Except in 2026, the mob, they don't need ropes anymore, y'all. No hood, no white sheets, no torches in the middle of the night, none of that. They have microphones now. They don't have to burn a cross in front of your house. They just burn your reputation. And the saddest part, most of the crowd laughed. Some of them looked like they were reluctant, like they were like, oh, did he really do that? Are we supposed to laugh? But they laughed because it costs nothing to laugh with the mob, but it costs everything to stand alone. And this is why I laugh. I laugh when the leftists, the pro-wokity-woke, blackity-blacks come in my DMs calling conservatives, calling me a coon and an Uncle Tom and a seller. I'm like, you punks could not walk a day in our shoes. You ain't built for this. You would fold as soon as you get the first DM calling you everything but a child of God because you're too weak. You're not built for this. It's easy to be a victim. Stay over there on the path of least resistance. It takes courage to stand on your own 2 feet, take the slings and the arrows that the mob throws your way, and hold your head up high with dignity and be like, I don't give a darn what you think. I'm not going to apologize for loving this country and supporting our efforts to make America great again. You stay over there and wallow in your oppression. This isn't new for me. And watching what happened at the Image Awards shouldn't be new or shocking to you either, regardless of your skin color. If you are a Christian, we're used to this, okay? How do you read the scriptures? How do you read First Peter or in John, where Jesus is like, listen, if they hated you, they're going to hate you. The world hates me. So because they hate me, they're going to hate you. And if the world doesn't hate you, you ain't doing it right. If you blend in and they love you, you ain't doing the faith right. Because the world is going to hate you when you expose it. They love the darkness rather than the light because their deeds were evil. So when you refuse to bow and you choose to think independently, when you take Romans 12 serious, where you're like, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. All of these people who sat there and laughed, they are the conformists. And they're that way because that's the pressure. You got to conform, you got to comply, you got to clap on cue, you got to act like a good little slave. But the renewal of your mind requires you to stand up, be strong, act like men. It takes courage to do that. And I hate to say it, but courage is expensive. And you can make all that money in Hollywood and be more richly rich and have close to more money than God, if that were even possible, and you can. But despite it all the elites in that room, they all got a boatload of money. But none of them, they're unwilling to pay the price to do away and to break away from the group. So what do? They join in. And that's most of us. Most of us fall into that default position. And the hard truth is, Black liberals risk nothing. Absolutely nothing. It costs nothing to echo and be in Hollywood and to say what everybody over there is saying. It costs nothing to stand with the corporate media and the fake news. That's easy. It costs nothing to just be one more voice in the choir of ideological sameness. It's easy. That's where it's safe. And they reward you for being safe. But to stand alone, that's costly. It's countercultural. And you're left, all you can do is respect. That's why I respect courage. Even if I don't agree with every single little thing that a person has said or done, I have sense enough to understand that this kind of freedom requires risk, and everybody is not built for this. But to be an ideological slave requires obedience, and I am nobody's slave except to the Lord Jesus. And the rest of the world, y'all, they can go kick rocks with sandals on. That's really how I feel. So we're about to wrap it up, but the NAACP, if we're going to be honest, they're not advancing colored people anymore. No. They're about advancing progressive ideology. It's, if you go to their website, y'all, they want to kill babies. They want to make all of our men gay. They want to support illegals while our communities suffer, and they want to keep your kids in failing schools. They support the teachers union. That's all that they want. That's what they care about. They want to push debauchery. And all they care about is thugs, hoes, and rappers. Why do you think they created the Image Awards anyway? That's why they created it. They wanted to celebrate and highlight the debauchery. When at one point they used to fight against the rap culture and the gang violence, now, no, you get an award for singing about it. They're nothing more than Democrat gatekeepers. And the gate is guarded by the people. All of them are terrified of independent thought. So here's the bottom line. Look, if your blackness requires you to be beholden and to have ideological submission, you are not free. You're in bondage. And I get it. Freedom is very risky. I know. I used to be a liberal. I didn't even know I was a liberal till I was like, oh no, this is whack. I don't want to do that anymore. But I've always kind of been a dissenter and one who would break away from the group. Standing alone is hard, but I would rather stand alone with conviction than to sit comfortably in a room full of cowards. I ain't gonna be able to do it. That's just me. I hope and pray some of y'all can get to that and muster up the courage to do the same. And trust me, you don't get here in your own strength. Now, you have some courageous people who don't name the name of Christ. But those of us who do name the name of Christ, we already know what it's like if you're persecuted for righteousness' sake. We have wrapped around in our minds the cost of following Christ. We've counted it, and we already know that to live is Christ and to die is gain. So, like, we're not out here trying to preserve our life. We're like, yeah, whatever, I'll get my glorified body in eternity, right? You can't destroy this. So, all right, it's late. Oh, it's almost 11 o'clock. We have a few events happening that I want to invite you guys to. But the first, I need to see if I have the graphic available. Let me see if I downloaded it. I don't know if I did, so we're going to find out. Coming up over the next couple of weeks, are you guys watching the TX30 race? Because I know I am. I am watching the TX30 race. That is Jasmine Crockett's old district. You've got Sheldon Daniels, Everett Jackson. Those are the two, maybe more, the two Black conservatives who are running and vying for that seat. Then you got the pulpit pimp himself, the melanated Marxist-minded Negro, Freddie Haynes. Jasmine Crockett's pastor is running on the Democratic side, and he's probably going to win that nomination. I am hoping that I can play some small role. I've exposed you to both candidates. If you've not seen my interview with Sheldon Daniels, it is up on my channel. Just search for it. You will find it. Go ahead and watch that. And I've also interviewed Everett Jackson. He was a latecomer to the party, but it's an opportunity for you to listen and get an idea of what he has to say. I tend to refrain from endorsing. I don't do primary endorsement. For example, my goal is to, whoever the nominee is, as long as I don't have fundamental ideological disagreements with them, 9 times out of 10, I will support who is going head to head in the general election. That's typically how, when it comes to like the president, I may have like my favorites, but when it comes to like local politics, yeah, I know y'all be wanting me to endorse folks, but like in the governor's race here in Georgia, I have my pick. I just want to get past the primary. I do. But I will show, as long as I don't ideologically disagree with you, I'll show. It depends. I try to just give the people an opportunity to hear messaging from as many sides as possible. That's what I try to do. But I ain't gonna lie, it just depends on how I feel. Maybe that's the problem. I ain't consistent enough. Because when it comes to like the Secretary of State, I kind of do have a pick. I do. But coming up this week, I believe I'm going to be interviewing Amir Hassan, who's running for Congress in Flint, Michigan. Gentleman that I met, not Army. Was he in the Air Force? I think he was in the Air Force. Military, from a military family, from a GM family. There are a lot of notable conservatives that are running for office. Y'all, we got to get these Democrat orangutans out of office. It's just so many of them. Oh my gosh, I knew it was something I'm going to tell y'all. Y'all, last night at the Georgia Black Republican masquerade ball, y'all, guess who was in the house? Y'all ain't going to believe this. When I tell y'all this, y'all be like, girl, quit lying. You need to go on in this live stream because don't nobody believe you. Hold on. I got to put lip gloss on for this one. Y'all, the super mayor herself, Tiffany Henyard, was at the Georgia Black Republicans masquerade ball last night. I'm not gonna lie, a fellow YouTuber came up to me. He was like, yo, did you know Tiffany Henyard? I was like, bro, what? Why are you lying? No, she not. He was like, no, I'm dead serious. I just finished talking to her. He was like, she's right there. I was like, for real? Yeah, I promise you she was there. And I had a lengthy conversation. Shout out to Black Anomaly Rising. He's a fellow YouTuber. He was there at the event. Shout out to Linda B, Crystal, Beyond Labels was there. I mean, there were so many YouTubers in the room. It was just amazing to see us there. But he and I were talking about it. And y'all know me. I am way more rigid than most. I just am. I come from a distinctively Christian worldview. I have my bona fides. I have things that I'm like, you got to check the boxes. And y'all know I am hesitant to embrace anybody that just remotely smells like an EBT Republican. I'm like, I smell it on you. You ain't ready yet. Don't come over here begging, giving out free stuff. Like the EBT Republican is typically a former leftist that they want to come over here on the right and they just want to beg for stuff from the government, but just over here. And the reason why they do it is because they've not had their ideology trained in the rudiments of what it means to be a conservative. They don't quite understand the worldview yet. So they come over here with a big government mentality and they always want to be all up in the president's face begging for stuff. And I'm like, that's not who we are. Conservatives want the government to leave us alone. We want the government to get out of our way. We just want you to keep the trains running on time, keep these roads paved, and just keep us safe. You know what I'm saying? Like some national sovereignty, national security. Keep your hands and your paws off my guns. Leave my kids alone. And let me keep more of what I earn. We don't need a program for everything. And former Democrats don't quite understand that, especially if they just jumped ship from the left. Now, I didn't get an opportunity to speak with Tiffany Henyard. I've covered Tiffany. I ain't gonna lie, when she saw me, she looked like she saw a ghost. She whizzed past me so fast. I didn't even get an opportunity to say hi, how you doing? Welcome to the A. We full. Who let you in? Like, I ain't get to say none of that. But she here now. And I'm told she has a boutique. And I believe anyone should. Atlanta, or at least it used to be, an amazing place to begin an entrepreneurial endeavor. But Atlanta is also. Oh, thank you, baby. Appreciate it. Oh, you're so sweet. I should cut these off. I hate those. Yeah, you know, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, Atlanta used to be the place of entrepreneurial exploits where you could come here, pitch your tent, and make it. But now we are home to scammers. It's so many scammers that live here. It's like 9 times out of 10, if you're here in Atlanta, you're probably a scammer. So we get to vet you. And I'm concerned, and I would say this to her, if I got an opportunity to interview, I better listen, Tiffany, I've been incredibly, incredibly critical of your leadership style up in Dalton, the money mismanagement. Baby girl, we got reason to believe you under investigation, like the feds is on you. what you want? Why you here? Who sent you? Like, where I am not ready to embrace y'all. This gonna make some people mad, and I'm probably gonna get some text messages like, "Girl, you ain't had to say that," but it is what it is. I'm not ready to embrace every former liberal and Democrat that just wakes up one day and decide all of a sudden they trying to come over here. I I need to understand what was the flashpoint for you? What was the turning point for you? What is the worldview that undergirds why you're over here? What is it that you want? How do you plan to contribute? Why you here? I need to know those things before I can feel comfortable embracing you. I need to see, one, if you're built for this, two, what your convictions are. Yes, I'm looking at your character. Here's what I'm not saying. As a Christian, if you tell me that you were dead in your sin and trespasses, and as a Democrat, you was blind as melon jelly and you didn't know no better, but the Lord arrested your heart and made you a new creation, and you see the world so much more clearer now, I have no choice then to accept that testimony and then check and inspect the fruit. I will reserve all of my judgment if you're telling me that, but I can smell a con from a mile away. I can smell them. So if all of a sudden you did what you did and now you're trying to live this redeemed life, listen, I believe in second chances. I was trash when I was dead in my sin. Trust me, I get it. But even the Apostle Paul, who went from being a persecutor of Christians to being the greatest apostle, know the man, he had a moment of where he like, listen, I'm wobbly. I'm new at this. I need some time to get to know the faith, right? And he was a Pharisee of Pharisees. Like, he knew the law left and right. He needed to understand what it meant to be a believer, to be in Christ, and the implications of the gospel. Wasn't he like in Arabia for like 15 years? Now, I'm not saying that you need to be a conservative for 20 years before we'll give you the green light, but we've been burned. I didn't just get in this game yesterday. I sat on the sidelines for a very long time, learning what does it mean to ideologically be conservative in my politics. I have to learn and sit on the sidelines. I'm like, what does it even mean to be a Christian? Because I know church. I grew up in church my whole life and still needed a minute to understand what it meant to be new in Christ. What does that look like? You need time for that. Like, I don't know any baby that comes out the womb walking. Now, granted, my 15-year-old son, he did pull up in the crib and was standing up at 4 months old, but he's special. Something wrong with the boy, okay? He was just determined he was going to get up out that crib. So at 4 months old, he pulled himself up. He was standing. He walked at 10 months. He spoke his first, sentence at 10 months. His first words was, Zaya, you got to wait. Like, we were like, why is this 10-month-old talking with a voice like Barry White? Why is his voice so deep? And he's 10 months old. That's a special circumstance. That's not the norm. So for these former Democrats, I get it. I mean, it's like Jasmine Crockett losing the Senate race and then all of a sudden saying, you know what, I'm a Republican now. I'd be like, I know you lying. I know you lying. That's just where I am. So for Tiffany, she was in the street last night. You know what I'm saying? She was hanging with the Black conservatives. And I have questions. And I'm uncomfortable. She was free to come, that's fine. I just need to know, what's the plan, fam bam? Like, what you doing? Did you come here just to open up your boutique, or are you trying to get involved in local politics? Because we don't need Dalton's problems coming down here. We don't. And I've seen her in an interview talk about what the Democrats do and how the Republicans look like they're doing a really good job, but I still smelled the scent of EBT Republican. I smelled it. It's that begging and the handouts and the free stuff. We don't do turkeys and whole Thanksgiving meals, feeding whole families. That, honey, that creates government dependence. What we do, we don't give people fish. We teach them how to fish over here, right? Like, so Democrats want to give their constituents welfare and free stuff. We're trying to give you a job. Like, we want people to have a healthy doctrine of work. We don't create dependence over here. We function in our freedom over here. And if I sound like I'm being real rude and dismissive, I'm not. I'm just trying to keep it 100. You gotta respect the honesty at least. So, can people change? Absolutely. They sure can. I need to see some fruit. I need to have some conversations, because we done let some folks in, and when they don't get what they want, they show their whole entire tail, and just they out here making us look bad. And I'm concerned about that. Y'all know I'm concerned about our ethnic image. I don't want us to be a party of black beggars. Always, you just like we always begging a white man for something. Like, can we do anything? Can we do anything on our own? That's just where I am. I know y'all don't like it. Y'all like, that girl gonna get herself killed one day because of her mouth. Hey, I told you, to live is Christ, to die is gain. It's okay. I'm completely comfortable with dying. Anyway, I think that was all I had to say. Oh, I forgot. Here's a save the date. Mark your calendars for April 14th. It is a Tuesday night. We are doing TPUSA Rise is presenting. They're on a tour of the Race War documentary. If you haven't seen it, you are missing out. And I personally want to invite you guys to be my guests at the Spring Cinema and Tap House up in Sandy Springs. Y'all, it's nice. Oh, it's nice and swanky. This is not hood rat stuff. This is top level niceness, okay? We're doing a screening of Race War, directed by my good friend, Marcus Wada of TPUSA, Pierre Wilson, Vince Everett Ellison, my clients. Virgil Walker is also in it. Stephen Davis is also in it. It's a nice little lineup. It is a well done film. And I want you guys to come out April 14th at, don't give me the line, I'll tell you in a second. I had a graphic, but I didn't pull it in time. So, when is the Race War? 7:00. So yeah, you're gonna be fighting rush hour traffic. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to take a half day, but you may want to. But it's gonna be really, really nice. I want you guys to come out. I'd love to interview many of you after the screening is done. We're gonna be doing a Q&A afterwards. And I might just want to do some man on the street interviews. So Unshakable with April will be there. And I hope that you would come out. It's gonna be a great evening. Race War is an amazing film. And I'm so glad to find out that it's going to be on tour. It will also be screened in Columbus, Ohio, the week after that on April 20th. So if you're in the northeast part of the country and you want to come to Columbus to see it, you can do that. But if you're in Birmingham, Chattanooga, Columbia, Atlanta, Georgia, North Georgia, Middle Georgia, come down. Hang with us. You can go to tpusarise.com, and under events, I believe you can register to attend. You need to go ahead and do that. And we want to pack out the house. So hopefully you guys will come for the screening of Race War on April the 14th at 7:00 p.m. Come and meet the cast. Come shake some hands. Bring your baby so you get your baby kissed. All that good stuff, right? Awesome. And then, do I have any other events coming up? I'm trying to stay put for a little bit. Y'all, I'm tired. All this traveling done wore me out. Okay? I'm seriously wore me out. I ain't even eat today. I forgot. This life started lifing and I forgot. So, no, I don't, I'm not. It's 11:07. I'm not taking questions. I can't. It's too much. Anyone? Absolutely. Absolutely. Y'all, if in case y'all didn't know, I actually produced that podcast. Chosen Warrior of Jesus Christ just said everybody needs to listen to the great Vince Ellison. He cooks real truth as well. He's an awesome American patriot. I love him. Y'all have been working on the Vince Everett Ellison show since October of 2024. I started consulting starting in October, and I took over full production of that podcast December of 2024. My goal was to get Vince to 100,000 subscribers. My goal was to expand his reach, and we accomplished those goals. And I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity that he gave me to work on that show. And it is my baby. It is going to be virtually impossible for me to ever walk away from it. But eventually I probably will have to one day. I don't know. But right now, that day is not today. But if you are not a fan, and if you've never watched the Vince Everett Ellison show, you need to hop. I don't even care if you leave here and go over there. Go on over there. Subscribe. We drop an episode every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 6 p.m. And we're about to ramp up that production schedule. And this month, you're going to see more episodes. So more episodes are going to be coming out. And we are expanding that show. And it's going to be even better than before. So I just want to encourage you to go and support. Mr. Ellison is truly an American patriot who loves this country. And he is such a national treasure because his goal is to really pour into the next generation and to kind of course correct some of the male cowardice. He really resonates with men a lot, but I can see he does have a sizable female audience as well. Because when you listen to him, you're like, that's something we've not heard before. We need to hear more of that. Another platform that I've worked with extensively is Support Our Shields. My homeboy, Henry Hollywood Morris. We are going to, right, Henry? We're going to see more from Support Our Shields. We are working on releasing regular content for that. If you are into law enforcement and supporting and backing the blue, there's currently a petition on his website to support ICE. But not only that, Henry is uniquely equipped to tell the story of our law enforcement. And if you like policing videos with traffic stops and stuff, Henry's the perfect person to break those down and explain the salient problems and entertain you at the same time. So he's going to be launching that soon. Like, I'm saying it out loud because I figure if I say it now, I have to hold him accountable for that. Yeah. So go over to Support Our Shields. So within the Standard House Media orbit, you've got Unshakable with April, the Vince Everett Ellison show. You've got Support Our Shields, and I'm always looking for other talents to add. But what we really want to do is we want to create a superstar lineup of good quality content that you guys can trust before we start expanding and adding more. But our head is always on the swivel, always looking for talent that aligns with our mission and our message. So, yeah, that's what I'm working on. So anyway, I love you guys with the love of the Lord. And I'm going to go now because I'm greasy and dehydrated. Okay. So until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.